Hello fellow YouTubers, Trouble8385, and welcome to My Arcade Life. Today we're going to cover my most favorite fighting arcade machine of all time game. That'd be none other than Mortal Kombat II. This is my favorite arcade fighter of all time. Some people might say Street Fighter 2, other people might say Virtual Fighter, which I did enjoy both those games, but I fell in love with Mortal Kombat 2. Now, Mortal Kombat 2 was originally released in 1993. A lot of controversy with it, like the first Mortal Kombat, the blood, the guts in the game. You know, Congress had hearings over it and all that nonsense. Which I remember back in the day thinking, okay, I understand there's blood and guts, but I'm a kid, even though I was a teenager, well, more of an adult back then. It was like, okay, I understand it's just a game. Why are they making such a big deal about it? Because blood and guts, it's essentially just a game. So I remember 6 months before Mortal Kombat 2 came out, I saw pictures in Electronic Game Monthly or Game Pro, because those are the two magazines I read back then religiously. I would literally read cover to cover over and over and over and over each month's cover until the next one came out. Pictures, whatever games I liked. And I sought out the original Mortal Kombat and played that for 4 months before the second one came out. I learned every fatality and the moves, and really cool, real life, like, you know, you saw, wow, it was slow and it was clunky, but yet you could see potential. So, I remember when Mortal Kombat 2 came out to the arcades. I went to the mall in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I walked in, and right in the center of the arcade, this was a huge arcade back then, they had like 6 machines of Mortal Kombat 2, just got done setting them up. Now my friend at the time with me, he was more into Ace Combat and Afterburner, so he went to play games like that, and I went straight to Mortal Kombat 2, and I just sat there and I watched all the screens go by. I watched the, you know, story screen which said Liu Kang won the first tournament. And then you saw the gameplay screen and you're like, wow. I put my quarters in, I started playing. I played Liu Kang. I still remember this first time, when first time I ever played that game, I played as Liu Kang. The first level I played was the pit level, and I was just amazed at how amazing that looked compared to the first game. How faster the characters were, how fast that game moved. It was just unbelievable how much better that game was. Mortal Kombat 2 to 3 was not nearly as a leap as Mortal Kombat 2 1 to 2 was. And for you to understand how popular this game was back in the day, in 1994, I believe it was released to the home consoles, everything. I mean, it was released to everything that was out at the time. If you look at Wikipedia or anything, you'll see that that game was released on everything. It had made over $50 million in sales its first week of release. More than any other box office movie's release at that time. Like for a week at the time. And Mortal Kombat 2 had so much hype around it when people started playing it. I remember on the base in Virginia Beach, Virginia, shortly after I first played this game in the arcade in the mall, they had a /bar/restaurant bowling alley with a jukebox, a couple pool tables, and then in the cove around the bar, little in cove there, they had 10 arcade machines and 2 pinball machines. But as soon as you walked in the door and you look straight back, they originally had Mortal Kombat, which is that's how I played the first one. But they replaced that one shortly after with Mortal Kombat 2. So as soon as you walked in the door, the first time I walked in, I remember seeing Mortal Kombat 2 there going, cool, now I can play this all the time here. And I remember Friday and Saturday nights, a bunch of us getting together there and playing that game late into the night. At one point I knew every character, every move, fatality. That the Mortal Kombat 2 is when they added the babality and the friendship, which a lot of people laughed at. But I used to use those babality and friendship to punk people out. Because back in the day, Mortal Kombat 2, there was an unwritten rule. You never leg sweep somebody across the board. That was considered cheating. If you went to an arcade back then and did that, bad things would happen to you. Because even though people talk about how great the arcade period was back then, there was a lot of seedy people in the arcades. A lot of them. Gangs, all that stuff were in the arcades back then. I remember it. And when someone would do the leg sweep, I'd punk them out by doing a babality or a friendship. or not doing anything at the end at all, that would really make them mad. It would. They would get mad. If I got sick of it, I would switch to like Baraka, where I could counter that, actually counter it with his claws. Because a lot of people would back then would play Sub-Zero, they would play Scorpion, Liu Kang, the bad guy, of course, who would switch to different characters. And I always liked playing the characters people didn't want to play, because it was more fun to me to play the characters that other people didn't play or hadn't encountered before. And I'll tell you a funny story. Sometimes when you play somebody in the arcade, and the person who knows how to play the game is easier to play than the person who doesn't know how to play. Because the person who knows how to play, you see them, you should go, okay, I can counter this with this, because you know what they're trying to do as you play them a game or two. You know exactly what they're doing, so you know exactly how to counter that. Though when I play people in the arcade with that game, what I'd do is I'd play a certain way, then as soon as I saw they caught on, I'd switch my style up. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, this 8-year-old kid walked up to me at that same mall that Mortal Kombat 2 had been one Saturday when I was there. And because when I used to go to the mall, for me in those Saturdays, it was basically going to the mall. I would buy a bunch of music CDs, or maybe anime movie, or a movie on VHS back then, or buy comic books, and go to the arcade, and video games, of course, buy video games. And this 8-year-old kid walked up, didn't know what he was doing, just mashed buttons, and he destroyed me. I lost that game to him. And he's like, oh, this game's boring, I want to go leave. I'm like, hey, you're like, hey, get back here, come on now. No, I'm not losing like that, I'm going to play you again. But he walked away, and you're like, man, you think, man, I suck, that kid just destroyed me, he doesn't know what he's doing, and I'm supposed to be good at this game? And, my friends and me got so good at that game that we literally it'd be down, like, we'd run the timeout on the clock, and whoever got that last hit in was the one who won the match, because we were just so closely matched. The babe alleys and friendships were, you do those to people, it's funny. After a while, you do the fatalities on people. It was always funny back then. The first time someone who never played the game would walk up and you do the fatalities, and they'd be like, wow, because how back then how gruesome and bloody they were. And I remember I also the first time I bought Mortal Kombat 2 for home console, I bought it on the Super Nintendo, and me and my friends would sit there and literally play that game for hours and hours until later on. I played Mortal Kombat 3 in the arcade, but to be honest with you, because a lot of the characters I knew were gone, and it just didn't catch me that I didn't play it till Sega Genesis, I believe it was the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. That's when I played it and learned to like that game. But talking about Mortal Kombat 2, in the new Mortal Kombat that just came out, in story mode, they play through Mortal Kombat. The story mode, Ed Boon said, is supposed to cover Mortal Kombat 1 through 4. And right now, I'm currently in the story for the second tournament, or Mortal Kombat 2. And this is no spoiler if you play the second one. Shao Kahn is the final boss in Mortal Kombat 2. Well, in the story, I'm now just fighting Shao Kahn at the very end of the tournament. And Mortal Kombat 2 was one of those games, there's so many secrets in that game, right, that people didn't know everything at the time. Like the Sapphire glitch, where if you played with Katana and Melina at the same time, and this only happened twice when I ever played the game, where Katana would turn, I believe it was Katana, she'd turn all red, and people thought it was a hidden character when it was a glitch in the game. But Mortal Kombat 2 was my favorite. Even now when I play it, nostalgia kind of hits me. I mean, playing this, more likely that still brings it back to me. Mortal Kombat 2 was my favorite fighter of all time. And that's all I got to say about that game. So, until next video.